This is the Bucks POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Milwaukee Bucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
A wire-to-wire loss for our Milwaukee Brewers as they fall at home to the defending NBA champions, the Oklahoma City Thunder, 122-102. Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Locked On Bucks postcast. My name is Brandon Sneide, joined alongside, as we will be for the rest of the season, the former Badger great Brian Butch himself. As always, thank you for making Locked On Bucks part of your day each and every single day. Friendly reminder, wherever you guys get audio podcasts, guess what? You can get the Locked On Bucks postcast now, and you can find the Daily Show as well wherever you guys get audio podcasts, Apple, Google, Spotify. We're also over on YouTube where we're live right now. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Get notified when we go live, and we are live right now, Butchie, talking about a 122-102 loss for Milwaukee. 18 now in 25 on the season, 9-11 at home, and from start to finish, Butchie, in this one, it was never close. And what I mean by from start to finish, Doc Rivers taking a timeout 90 seconds into the ball game today, and it just had that feel, Butchie. It had that vibe. It had that, you kind of knew it was going to be there, but there was a little silver lining before this game. I'm not going to lie. I was feeling okay going into this game because, yeah, the Bucks beat the Atlanta Hawks, and, yeah, it wasn't great because you were up 16 at one point. You let them come back, and they were 1 for 22 in the first half from three-point range, and then they turned it on, and it turned into a game. But you felt you got out of Atlanta. You felt, okay, we got to win. Let's see what we can do. The Oklahoma City Thunder tonight, Butchie, had 5 rotational players that were not suiting up for this game. J-Dub,
chance,
Alex Caruso, but then on the Bucks side, you get the news about an hour or two before tip-off. Justin Garcia, our guy on the Daily Show, reporting Kevin Porter Jr., Doc Rivers saying it's going to be a while before he comes back. An oblique injury. Miles Turner also missing this one. So you had a good feeling, and then it kind of went away pretty quickly. Your initial thoughts, Butchie, on the 122-102 Bucks loss tonight?
Yeah. So this is the problem, and
where do you start?
so for me, it really is this simple, Brandon. Where I start, and the reason it's kind of like, oh my goodness, is because we're talking about effort. We're talking about energy. We're not talking about execution, and I think that's where you start when you play such a bad first half and a bad first quarter. It's going to start with the energy. There was none of it. I mean, Oklahoma City, we know how good they are, but defensively, they're flying around. They're making it really difficult for Milwaukee to get into any offensive sets. I mean, this team had 8 turnovers and 7 made buckets in the first half. That by itself is something that you just don't see a whole lot. So to me, watching this game, I'm just sitting there saying, can I get 5 guys on the floor that are going to give me effort? And that is a huge problem with this Bucks team. We could talk about how I thought Oklahoma City, anytime Giannis dribbled the ball, would throw a double team. And if it wasn't,
you knew that was coming. That's the best defensive team in the NBA.
Yeah, and if it wasn't a hard double team, there was enough bodies there where it was extremely hard to be able to operate. All of that's in play. But for me, the biggest thing that I'm talking about, is the effort side of it. They're elite. Oklahoma City is on both sides. You talked about how many points they give up. They only give up 108. It's the first in the league. As far as their offensive rating, they're 5th in the league. As far as points per game, they're 2nd in the league. You knew it was going to be a tough team. Mm-hmm. But you talked about it. 5 rotational players, done, not playing. So you should play with some juice. We should be talking about, well, they didn't execute the side pick and roll. Offensively, they couldn't get enough open looks because the ball was that we can't go there right now. The first thing you've got to bring up is that the effort that Milwaukee came out with was unacceptable.
It is worth noting too, Butchie, that the Bucks returned home. They were off on Tuesday. It was a matinee game in Atlanta, so they had a day off in between this game. This was the 4th and final game on this road trip for OKC. Now they are the best road team in the NBA. There's no doubt about how good this team is. There's no discussion. But I agree with you. I mean, your first 3 possessions for the Milwaukee Bucks resulted in 2 of them being turnovers. Now, again, give credit where credit is due. I understand where OKC is. And we'll get into the turning point in this game. We'll get into who fudged up as we discuss for losses. Those are going to be our topics we discuss. There really isn't a player of the game here for the Bucks. Excuse me. Sorry, the Brewers also in the news this evening. A lot of things going on here in Milwaukee. But you mentioned energy and effort, and if we're going to talk about a lot of the negativity, and certainly it's deserved when you lose 122-102 at home, 18-25 on the season. Giannis with some more questionable comments after that game in Atlanta about his future, and there's question marks about what this team is going to do or not going to do at the trade deadline. I feel like half the broadcast Butcher tonight on ESPN was, what are the Bucks going to do with Giannis at the trade deadline? Because the game was out of hand for the entirety from start to finish in this one. But I will give credit where credit is due tonight. And your guy, Pete Nance, coming off of the bench, 11 points this evening in 30 minutes, and Cole Anthony today. We did not see him on Monday in Atlanta. Obviously, no Kevin Porter Jr. This evening for the Milwaukee Bucks and for the foreseeable future. We'll see how long that oblique injury takes him to come back from. But he had 17 points. I thought those two guys in the second quarter, because the Bucks made a little bit of a run, right? You go on a 6-0, 8-0 run, and you get it within 12 to 14 points. They couldn't get it any lower than that. But those are the two guys that if you want to give a little bit of credit, those are the two guys tonight that did bring it, that energy that you're talking about.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. I like the way that you're trying to be positive about this because, we are really grasping right here.
There's not a lot.
There's not a lot. Yeah, I thought Cole Anthony played really well. The one that, as we talk through this too is, I think Pete Nance did what he was supposed to do, get in, knock down some shots. He's 3 of 5 from 3, 4 of 7. But in general, I just didn't see that aggressiveness from guys that you truly expect it from. And I think, the positive, yes, Cole Anthony, Pete Nance, but the fact that we're talking about those guys with the roster that the Bucks have, that's why they're at where they're at right now, is because that's why they're 18-25 is because you're not getting consistent contributions. And it's not just from Giannis. Now, I actually thought, and I hate saying this, I actually thought Giannis looked disengaged at times.
It's funny you bring this up because I wanted to, I was begging to ask you this question. I didn't even want to, you and I have a text chain that, we're talking back and forth during these games. And I didn't want to even bring it up in that because I don't want to question effort from players. And you can attest to this,
but you have to.
I think I can count on maybe one. I might need the help of the other hand to count the shot attempts. I think he finished the first half. Don't quote me. I think it was 8. It was 8 or 9 shot attempts in this one. He finished with 19 points on the night. Giannis did. You're going to need better.
8 of 11 on the night.
You're going to need better than that. You're going to need better. You need better from that. You're going up against the defending MVP. You're going up against one of the best defenders in Lou Dort. You're going up against one of the best teams. You're going up against a team that raised the Larry O'Brien trophy just a handful of months ago. I'm sorry. I'm not questioning the effort. Maybe we can question the energy. I needed more out of Giannis tonight. I thought that was pitiful at best tonight from 34.
He looked like, I used the word disengaged. Now this is back-to-back games that Bobby Portis has led the team in field goal attempts. I can't have it.
Off the bench, too.
Off the bench. Yeah, you can't have it. Your star, and I get part of that was Oklahoma City's defense. Okay. When you look at the 11 field goal attempts, part of it is when Giannis did come and attack, the swarm is there. There's some more kickouts. There's some different things you've got to do. He leads the team, with Ryan Rollins with 7 assists. So, but I'm talking about disengage at times offensively when there was a 20-point lead. And instead of saying, okay, I'm going to grab the ball, I'm going to rip and go, I'm going to get to the paint, and I'm going to create, it was more of a pound, let the game come to him. And that to me is where I look at it. Not necessarily shot attempts, because Oklahoma City, they were going to make it extremely difficult for Giannis to get shots. Especially when you look at the roster, Gary Harris is starting. You Gary Trent Jr., who's that guy?
Gary Harris's first start for the Bucks this season as well.
Yeah. And Gary Trent, when you look at we haven't seen him since the new year as far as just anything productive. So of course you're going to make Giannis find ways to try to beat you. But I didn't think he was engaged as much as everybody loves Bobby Portis. Bobby played Thursday. I didn't think he looked engaged. And Ryan Rollins, I didn't think looked to do a whole lot. He's 4 of 11, 2 of 5 from 3, scores 10 points, but it didn't look like there was a sense of urgency when the lead got away early in the game to then put any pressure back on Oklahoma City. They took the punch, but there was never a counter punch. There was never an aggressive approach at all in this game that I ever thought that a comeback was ever going to happen, Brandon.
No, I can't disagree with that whatsoever. Let me ask you this.
And I hate saying it.
I'm with you because
it
sounds like it. I don't want to say that they've given up on Doc Rivers' messages, falling on deaf ears. I don't know because I'm not in there and I don't want to act like I am. Are you a big plus or minus guy, like on the stat sheet?
It depends.
Okay,
it depends.
I am too.
The reason I say it depends is like you look at Pete Nance against Atlantic, great plus minus, but like it was also the eye test. Like the eye test told us Pete Nance did some really good things.
Yeah.
And then the box score said too. So I think there's
energy for him was.
Exactly, yeah.
I'm not a big guy like plus minus. I know I quoted it in the first game, and this is only our second show we're doing. And typically, it's not gonna be the be all end all for me as far as the stats go. But this one was telling to me because this passes the eye test. The Milwaukee Bucks starting 5 tonight, Butchie, minus 69 in the plus or minus combined. The Bucks starting 5. You had Giannis, Kyle Kuzma, Gary Harris, as we mentioned, who made his first start for the Bucks this season, AJ Green and Ryan Rollins, minus 69 combined for Oklahoma City Thunder. Again, missing some rotational guys, plus 53 combined for their starting rotation. I mean, that tells you that, typically that's not going to tell you the full story, but tonight it feels like that tells the full story.
And that hasn't really necessarily been. It's been the bench for the Milwaukee Bucks throughout the season as far as where have they been. And that, we can't really talk about where was the bench in this one because the starters didn't show up either. And that's the unfortunate thing about what tonight's game was. I'm really disappointed in the performance, to be honest. Like you got guys that are out for Oklahoma City, key guys, and you can't put a better effort out there, especially knowing – here's the thing, especially knowing that the trade deadline's there.
Yeah,
that they're
weeks away.
Like they're pros. I heard Doris Burke talk about it. Oh well, it's just a weird feeling. No, you're a pro. Your job is to not listen to the outside noise and go perform. And there was none of that. It was really frustrating.
Certainly was. The Milwaukee Bucks falling to the Oklahoma City Thunder 122-102. Where and when did this one turn for the Milwaukee Bucks, and who fudged up this evening? We'll break all of that down coming up right after this. Tonight's Locked On Bucks postcast is brought to you by Quo. New year, new systems. This is the time when a lot of us look at the messier parts of how we run our business and we think there has to be a better way. And guess what? There is. Streamlining your communications is one of the quickest upgrades you can make. That's why today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Q-U-O, the smarter way to run your business communications. Because when your team is reachable, when they're organized and they're communicating all in one place, you're not just working cleaner, you're creating more opportunities to connect with your customers. Everyone sees the full conversation thread, which makes replies faster and more personal. Make this year where no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo for free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/lockedonnba. That's QUO.com/lockedonnba. Quo, no missed calls, no missed opportunities. Today's Locked On Bucks postcast is also brought to you by ZocDoc. Guys, it is now 2026. And those days of waiting for something to become a full-blown emergency before you see a doctor, they have to be over. No more walking it off for 6 months. No more pretending the weird shoulder stiffness is you just sleeping wrong. It's time to take your health seriously. And ZocDoc makes it easier than ever because staying healthy is more than just hitting the gym or eating right. It's actually about taking care of the things that are wrong with you, getting checked out when something feels off. The app is quick, it's clean, it's honest. It removes all of the stress of finding out who the right doctor for you is. So stop putting off your doctor appointments and get the care you need. Go to ZocDoc.com/lockedon to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. Once again, that's ZocDoc.com ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA, ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA. And finally, the Locked On Bucks postcast also brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Friday nights are already feeling different during the NBA season, and FanDuel is making them even better. Every Friday night before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. The timing couldn't be better. Right before the games, right before the weekend starts, adds a little extra energy to your Friday night basketball without having you overthink it. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. FanDuel.com. An ugly one for our Milwaukee Bucks as they fall to the Oklahoma City Thunder, 122-102, a wire-to-wire loss for our Milwaukee Bucks. Now 18-25 on the season. They also fall to 9-11 at Pfizer. For Butchie, it's time to get into our turning point in the Bucks' 25th loss of their season.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
I'll start us off here, Butchie, because I kind of mentioned it a little bit at the beginning of the show. And for me, this is a kind of a no-brainer. It's the first 6 minutes of the ball game. For me, that were the turning point in this game. I mentioned the Bucks' first 3 possessions equaled 2 turnovers. Now, keep in mind, I understand Oklahoma City Thunder has one of the best defenses and forces 18 turnovers a game this season. So their defense obviously speaks volumes, but 5 turnovers in the first 6 minutes for the Milwaukee Bucks. After the first quarter, they were down 20, Butchie, 38-18, the largest deficit in the first quarter this season. That first quarter, the first 6 minutes, however you want to categorize it, that is the turning point, because from that moment on, I don't know about you, Butchie, I don't know about the other Bucks fans, the Locked On Bucks postcast listeners of the program. I don't know how they felt. After that first quarter, I knew what was going to happen. We probably could have started the show from that moment on, but we knew it was going to be a wrap pretty quickly after that, and certainly it was, as the Bucks lose 122-102. Your turning point, Butchie. Sorry if I stole your thunder with the opening of the game there, but that's the difference.
Well, it wasn't a game after the first quarter. I think that's the biggest thing. The turning point for me too is when you get down in a game, you've got to attack. So for me, like, even though I agree with you, I think it's spot on is the first, couple possessions, the turnovers. You got 8 turnovers. You end up with 16 turnovers in the game. Half of those are in the first quarter. To me, I look big picture and say the turning point was they couldn't get to the free throw line ever. They only took 9 attempts. And when you're a team that is trying to come back, and I said, they look like they were, just kind of going through the motions a lot. When you only get to the free throw line 9 times, and don't put pressure at the rim especially when you're down early like they were, that's what you have to do. That's how comebacks happen, and they didn't. So for me, it was that lack of energy on top of what you said with the turnovers. That was the biggest turning point. But not getting to the free throw line was a huge turning point when they could have had runs. They got it down to 12. They got it down to 14. Get a couple possessions where you attack the rim, get to the free throw line. Now, all of a sudden, you can get to single digits, and maybe you can make a run. But there was none of that. There was no force that they played with.
There was just no flow. There was no rhythm. Yeah. There was no energy. Pat Murphy was in attendance. The Brewers obviously making a big trade tonight. Fans were glued to their phone. It felt it. The other thing too is, and I'm not giving this team an excuse whatsoever, but an 8:47 tip-off locally in Milwaukee on a Wednesday night is sort of out of sorts.
Stop this. They're pros.
No, I'm talking
against.
I'm talking crowd-wise. I'm talking crowd-wise. The crowd tried. I mean, the biggest cheering moment of the game was when they showed Pat Murphy on the Jumbotron, who was in attendance. But the Bucks did lose 122-102. This is going to be a fun one. This is a segment we're going to introduce on the Locked On postcast. Who fudged up after the Bucks lose to the Oklahoma City Thunder?
Uh-oh, somebody messed up, and it's time to let them know with who fudged up.
All right, Butchie, I let us off with the turning point in this one. I'll let you take the reins Again, a 20-point loss. The defending champions, 5 rotational players missing for them. No Miles Turner for the Milwaukee Bucks. No Kevin Porter Jr. as well for the Milwaukee Bucks. But again, no excuses in this one. Who do you got tonight on who messed up the most?
Yeah, it's Bobby Portis, and it has nothing to do with the play. It's the fact that he goes after Case and Wallace for no reason. There was no reason to get the flagrant one that then results in a little scuffle. You weren't going to throw punches. To me, it shows that Oklahoma City Thunder got in your head, and now all of a sudden you let Wallace get in your head, and then that goes down. That's a trickle-down effect to your entire team. If you're a leader, which Bobby Portis is supposed to be, well, you don't – that's not how you operate. You tell me which leader of a team is the guy to be a guy to start something. Like, it shouldn't be that. That's not what Bobby Porter expects, especially when you're now back-to-back games, led the team, in shot attempts. Like, you can't have it both ways. Are you the enforcer or do you want to be a scorer? What are you? And so to me, that's who fudged up. It had nothing to do with game, but more of a mentality to this game. And I have no idea what Bobby Portis was doing.
Yeah, I'll disagree with you on that one. I respect, obviously your opinion. 15, 6 and 9 for Bobby tonight. 9 assists for Bobby. I don't think if you're looking at the totality of the game, he would be on lower towards the bottom for me, an above average game. I think I would classify it for Bobby Portis third in scoring tonight with 15 points, tied with AJ Green for me. And I kind of mentioned
7 from 3 as well.
Yeah. And again, and not overall, he's been fantastic from 3. I mean, leading the
Correct.
NBA tonight, not great. But for me, it's a starting rotation. I mean, it was pitiful. We talked about Giannis. It looked disengaged. Only 11 field goal attempts from Giannis, from your best player. Like, I need better than that. Kyle Kuzma with 9 points. He was 4 of 12. Not a great night from Kyle Kuzma. AJ Green. I love AJ Green. I love what he can do from beyond the arc, but the dude is a walking foul. Like, it just never fails. It's just, I don't know. He's a magnet to causing the foul. And Ryan Rollins tonight also is not a great night from Ryan Rollins. We talked about Gary Harris getting the start for the Bucks, the first time that's happened this season for him due to a few injuries, and Doc Rivers trying to do something. Their 14th different starting lineup this season for the Milwaukee Bucks. But for me, I know again, not to beat a dead horse, I'm not a big plus or minus guy, but when you're minus 69, your starting rotation, and your opposing team that you're going up against, the Oklahoma City Thunder, are plus 53, like that to me is the difference. And I know a lot of people, we have some fans lined up in the live chat that are upset with the Cole Anthony turnovers. I thought he provided a spark offensively for the Bucks off the bench, 17 points in 24 minutes. You mentioned Pete Nance. We mentioned him. Both of us mentioned him. 11 points, then Bobby Portis, 15. Like, the bench tried. Like, there were moments in that third quarter. We saw Andre Jackson Jr. in this one, trying to throw a dart at the wall and see what sticks. And every 6-0 run, 8-0 run that the Bucks would get on, Oklahoma City Thunder would quickly respond. So I'm going to go with the starting rotation in this one, and most notably Giannis, because it just didn't feel like he himself. It didn't feel like he was engaged in a primetime matchup with the team that just won a championship, the guy that just won the MVP just the season ago. It just felt very slow, very sluggish from number 34 tonight. And as he goes, unfortunately, that's how this team is going to go as the Bucks lose 122-102. The good news, Butchie, is they get the Denver Nuggets on Friday. So we'll see what that team looks like, who's in and who's out in that one. We'll break that one down come Friday night. Thanks to each and every one of you guys for tuning in. Thank you for making Locked On Bucks postcast part of your day each and every single day. Friendly reminder, this show, as well as the Daily Show with Camille and Justin Garcia, free and available wherever you guys get audio podcasts. And once again, we will go live Friday after the Bucks take on the Denver Nuggets from Pfizer Forum. Thanks to each and every one of you for tuning in this evening. Thank you for making Locked On Bucks part of your day each and every single day. And as always, stay Locked On Bucks.